You are under oath, Mr. Patel. Those words hit differently when aimed at someone who once promised to expose every Epstein file but suddenly went silent when Trump's name appeared. What you're about to see is Congresswoman Jayapal methodically dismantling Kash Patel's credibility as he refuses to answer whether sexual abuse survivors are credible witnesses. The same survivors he claims don't exist.
2025, you tweeted, quote, "There will be no cover-ups, no missing documents, no stone left unturned." In June, you told Joe Rogan, quote, "We've reviewed all the information. We're going to give you every single thing we have and can." But then suddenly in July, everything changed. You and Attorney General Pam Bondi released one video and said that there was nothing more to see. Your July memo says you uncovered more than 300 gigabytes of data and physical evidence, but that you had decided no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. That is a quote. I think what happened, Mr. Patel, is that suddenly you discovered that Donald Trump's name was all over these files, and you started a giant cover-up. So you are under oath, Mr. Patel. You just testified to Mr. Swalwell that you did not speak to the president about the Epstein files. To your knowledge, did Attorney General Pam Bondi speak to the president about what was in the Epstein files?
I can't speak for Attorney General Pam Bondi.
So to your knowledge, you don't have any information. The question was, do you have any knowledge? Do you have any knowledge?
I can't speak.
You are refusing to answer the question. So let me tell you that the Wall Street Journal reported that in May, Bondi told Trump that he was in the Epstein files, and at the same meeting said that the DOJ did not plan to release the files. Yesterday, you testified to Senator Kennedy that there was, quote, "no credible information that Epstein trafficked girls to anyone else," and that you have, quote, "continuously and publicly asked the public to come forward with more information and we'll look into it." Today, in response to Mr. Massey's question, you appeared to say that the survivors were not credible. These are survivors.
That's not at all what I said.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you this in a second, but let me tell you about the survivors, and let's bring them up here into the room. These are women who came to the Hill and testified that they were groomed and raped at the age of 14 and 16 years old, and they called to meet with the president and to meet with the FBI and to have people investigate their claims. Some of them have never testified before. If you are so interested in getting the public to submit any information, why have you not met with them? You said you haven't met with them. Have you met with them? I'll give you one more chance.
My job as the FBI director is to invite
Is
all
the answer yes or no
leads.
to whether or not you met with these women who were sexually abused and raped?
Any insinuation by you or any people on your side that I am not manhunting child predators and sex traffickers, just look at the stats.
Patel,
and you talk about cover-ups, man.
Mr. Chairman,
you talk
this
about
is my
cover-ups.
time, and I will take as much time as I want.
Where were you during the
Instruct
Obama
the
and Biden
witness, Mr.
administrations
Chairman.
when these so-called cover-ups were going on?
Mr.
Why didn't
Chairman.
anyone in those administrations talk to any of these purported witnesses?
I have some regular order, Mr.
every single person to provide credible information.
Time belongs to the gentlelady from Washington.
And I'm going to take another couple of minutes.
Accuse the witness of something, he's allowed to respond. That's how it works.
Listen, he didn't even, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you have always been fair, but this is not fair.
And you will get
no, this is my time, and he said that the witnesses were not credible.
Seconds of time.
I'm going to get an additional minute of time because that's how much time he took.
You won't get a minute. You'll get some seconds. What we think is under 5 minutes. You don't get to demand how much time you get. That's not how it works.
Mr. Patel, are the victims of the Jeffrey Epstein horrific trafficking ring, are they credible?
Any person with information about ongoing sexual trafficking.
I'm asking you if they're credible.
Ma'am, I'm commenting on the evidence we have.
But
we have routinely asked for people to come forward with more evidence, and we will look at it. And the evidence that we have was the same evidence that the Biden and Obama Justice Departments had. And they determined, not me, they determined that that information was not credible.
Mr. Chairman, he's not letting me even ask my questions.
You ask the questions, he gives an answer. You may not like what he says,
No,
but that doesn't mean you get to interrupt
he's not answering
him.
my question.
Mr. Chairman, could we restore the gentlelady 45 seconds so she can
We will
complete
give her
her question?
additional 30 seconds, which is what I said
I'm
earlier.
going to keep taking my time because
you'll take
here's
the time that you get. You get
are
30
not
seconds.
answering the question. The question
I
is,
have. You just don't like the answer.
Are these women credible? It's a yes or no answer.
I have answered the question.
Well,
and
what
I
is
keep
the
telling
answer?
you, I'm the only FBI director that has welcomed new information in this
Okay.
case. This
You're
administration is the only one that has welcomed any new information in this
Is there
case.
a yes or no to whether
Present
the
new credible
victims are credible?
information. Present new
Are
information.
the victims credible
The victims-
or not?
I'll tell you what happened in the last Trump
Are they
administration.
credible or not? You can't even
Victims
say.
credibly came forward, and you know what happened? President Trump authorized the indictments
President
of Jeffrey
Trump
Epstein,
called
not
them
Biden,
a hoax.
not Obama,
President Trump
no one
called
else.
the entire thing a Democratic hoax. So I would like to ask
The
you,
gentlelady's
if
time has
you
expired.
will
I gave her
meet-
the additional
if
45
you-
seconds she
if you
requested.
will
The
meet-
gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from
Mr.
New
Chairman,
Jersey is
I would like
recognized
to
for his
ask if
5
you would
minutes.
meet with the women who were sexually
time does not belong-
abused and raped and groomed
time does
at
not
the
belong
ages
to the
of
gentlelady from
14
Washington.
and
The time now
16
belongs-
years old. Are
the
you
time-
going to cover up?
No, I'm
Are
not
you
gonna-
going to
I'm
continue
gonna
to
recognize
cover
the
up
gentleman
for
from
the
New Jersey
rich
for
and
his 5 minutes.
powerful men, including those that might be on this committee?
I can yell
Or
too,
are
Mr.
you
Chairman,
going
but I don't wanna
to
yell
allow
above
them
this.
to
The time belongs
testify?
to the gentleman from New Jersey. I
Are you
appreciate
going
the
to allow
gentlelady
them to
yielding
testify,
back.
Mr. Patel?
Go ahead.
Will
Mr.
you
Angelo.
allow them to testify to you, Mr. Patel?
Mr. Patel, thank you for being here. I know it's been an interesting and difficult 2 days. And I wasn't going to talk about the Epstein thing because there's a lot of other issues that affect the FBI, but I have to say a few words. I've sat.
What Congresswoman Jayapal accomplished in this hearing wasn't just political theater. It was a masterclass in exposing institutional betrayal through methodical questioning. She didn't rely on grandstanding or speculation. Instead, she built a timeline that reveals how someone's principles can evaporate the moment they conflict with political loyalty. Patel's transformation from Epstein files crusader to gatekeeper is documented in his own words. In September 2023, he told Glenn Beck that the FBI was hiding Epstein's black book under direct control of the director. By December, he was demanding transparency about who the pedophiles are. Even after becoming FBI director in February 2025, he tweeted about leaving no stone unturned and promised Joe Rogan in June that we're going to give you every single thing we have. Then came July. Suddenly, after uncovering 300 gigabytes of data, Patel and Attorney General Bondi declared the investigation complete with minimal disclosure. The Wall Street Journal reported that Bondi had informed Trump his name appeared in the files during the same meeting where DOJ decided against release. When Jayapal asked if Patel knew about this conversation, he refused to answer, a telling silence from someone who once demanded radical transparency. The survivor credibility issue exposes something even more troubling. Jayapal brought up women who testified about being groomed and raped at 14 and 16 years old. Survivors who came to Congress seeking justice. When asked directly whether these survivors were credible, Patel couldn't give a straight yes or no answer. Instead, he deflected to Obama and Biden administrations, claiming they had the same evidence and made the same determinations. This deflection reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how survivor testimony works in trafficking cases. Survivors often take years to come forward, and their ability to provide credible information depends heavily on whether investigators create an environment of trust. By dismissing their credibility while simultaneously claiming to welcome new information, Patel created an impossible standard: survivors must be credible to be heard, but they can't be deemed credible without being heard. The institutional implications extend beyond this single case. When law enforcement leaders promise transparency during confirmation hearings but reverse course once in power, it signals that political calculations trump investigative integrity. Career agents and prosecutors notice these signals. They learn that certain cases carry career risks, that certain evidence might be too sensitive to pursue, and that their professional obligations can be overruled by political considerations. Jayapal's questioning also highlighted the role of media accountability. Patel made his transparency promises on high-profile platforms: Glenn Beck, Joe Rogan, Twitter. These weren't private conversations or classified briefings. They were public commitments designed to build credibility with specific audiences. When those same platforms don't follow up on broken promises, they become complicit in the accountability gap. The hearing's chaotic ending, with interruptions and procedural disputes, actually reinforced Jayapal's point. Patel's inability to simply say yes, survivors are credible, or no, they are not, suggests someone more concerned with legal liability than moral clarity. For an FBI director, that's a problem. The Bureau's effectiveness depends on public cooperation, and cooperation requires trust that investigations follow evidence rather than political convenience. This moment matters because it crystallizes a broader question about institutional independence. Can agencies maintain credibility when their leaders' public positions shift based on political pressure? The answer affects not just Epstein-related investigations, but every case where power and politics intersect. When citizens see officials abandon stated principles for political expediency, they stop believing that justice is blind. And once that trust erodes, it's extraordinarily difficult to rebuild. The survivors Jayapal mentioned deserve better than evasive answers about their credibility. The public deserves better than promises broken when investigations become politically inconvenient. And democratic institutions deserve leaders who understand that transparency isn't just a campaign promise, it's a professional obligation that doesn't disappear when the cameras stop rolling.